Hachua Pinky, my honorable hut overlords. I'm gonna work on that one. See, the problem with starting things with alliteration every time is you kinda gotta keep doing it. Honestly, it's a horrible habit. Hey, this is John in the Edit Bay. Got another episode of Echo Based Nights for you. Just for you. And maybe that guy. Or her. Or really even anyone. But mostly for you. That's our little secret. On this episode, we go over the recently released cast list for Star Wars Episode 9. Here at Hoth Topics, we generally don't go over breaking news. Well, at least breaking news when it happened. Due to the way that we record our episodes a couple weeks in advance. So, by the time you would have normally heard this, it could have been 1 or 2 months down the road. And that's just not good reporting. So we decided to record an Echo Based Nights and get that information to you maybe just a week late. But before we jump in, just an FYI, this episode was recorded over Discord using new technology, unbeknownst to me and Ian, that would allow us to converse over the magics of the internets. So the audio quality is a little different. And yes, I do realize I need to get a windsock for my headset. I probably could just use another headset. That one's USB and it doesn't work all the time. I could use my earbuds with the built-in microphone. Though I don't really like how those ones sound either. My wireless headphones are junk too. I mean, I work at a TV studio.
Hey, John.
What's up, Ian?
Hey, did you see that they released the casting, I guess, list for episode 9?
It's very hard not to see that on any social media.
Because it's everywhere?
Yeah, it is. It has ruined my YouTube experience because I knew we were going to talk about it, and I didn't want to, have, Star Wars Explains version of it in my head, or any of the people that hate Disney. It's like version of it in my head. So I haven't been watching anything on the interwebs. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I haven't really either. I think I've been looking at titles of videos, and I've been looking at I think I looked at one article. Let's dive right into this then. I got the announcement pulled up in front of me. Returning cast members include Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o, Domhnall Gleeson. That's my
unprofessional. Hi, Katie.
No, wasn't her. I don't know who it is.
Does Katie know?
Huh? What? I talked to other people that aren't Katie.
That's yet to be proven.
Let me start that over. So, returning cast members include Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o, Domhnall Gleeson, Kelly Marie Tran, Jonas Suotamo, and Billy Lord. So those are the returning cast members.
I believe there's another one you missed.
Did I miss one? I'm reading it right off of the thing.
Oh, I'm not. Actors Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I was gonna get to that after the next session, but Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, and Billy D. Williams are also gonna be in there. So, are we like? I'm not shocked or surprised by any of these people, except for maybe Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams was like it'd be cool to see Billy D. Williams return as Lando.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting it to happen. But now that it has,
after Carrie Fisher passed away, I assumed that they were going to bring Billy D. in to kind of take over her role. So that, because as a Return of the Jedi, he's also a general. in their terrorist organization. So I could have easily seen them bringing him in to kind of fill in for the veteran military leader role.
Okay.
I would have loved to see him as a cameo, and in Last Jedi or Force Awakens, given the circumstances of Carrie Fisher's death, I would have been okay with him coming in to be the replacement. It probably would have felt a little forced, but
I don't think replacement's the right word there.
unless they were planning to bring him in with Carrie Fisher still being around, he would have been a supporting background character. Probably a little bit more airtime than Admiral Akbar did, even though he's getting a lot of airtime in space. You know what I'm saying? No, there's no air, so that joke.
There's no air there, John.
Shoot, dang it. But yeah, like I was saying, I would have been fine with them kind of transitioning what General Leia's role would have been to another veteran actor or veteran cast member.
Yeah, I think what's gonna my feeling is he's going to play the role of play Leia's role to the Resistance, but I think that Leia's role to Rey is gonna just be put upon entirely by Mark Hamill, Force Ghost.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how they'll split those characters. People, I've heard people are shocked that Mark Hamill is returning. I don't
understand why.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Force Ghosts are a thing.
Did people forget that Sir Alec Guinness returned for all 3 movies?
Yeah,
of the post sequels, post prequels. Excuse me.
And I mean, and we saw Ghost Yoda in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So it's not like people would have forgotten that that's possible. So I don't really get why people are surprised that he's back. And Anthony Daniels being back, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we've got all the cast from the previous movies. I like that Billie Lourd was mentioned in this.
I like that she keeps getting this weird not top billing, but she gets this she's gonna star in this movie sort of thing for this movie and the last movie, and she's just kind of a background technician that has 3 or 4 lines.
Yeah, I think she's some sort of officer. But I wouldn't be surprised if they gave her more screen time out of just it. It logically isn't the right move to just give somebody more parts because they're related to an actor who passed away on that project.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on any other franchise, I think I'd be that's a really dumb idea. But for this, I'm just yeah, cool. Throw Billie Lourd a couple more lines. Let us honor the memory of her mother with her through Star Wars. I'm cool with that. So I mean, anybody else in the returning cast?
If it said listed everybody and it didn't list Kelly Marie Tran or it didn't list John Boyega, then that's something to talk to you. But these are all the people that I just expected to be in the next movie. That they are the ensemble cast,
sure,
of the sequels.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet on our feed where somebody was just hey, would you look at that? Kelly Marie Tran is still in a Star Wars movie. Bullying people doesn't make them go away. Stop being dickheads.
Real quick, what's our feed?
Her feed?
Our feed. This feed
our
that
feed?
Spoke of.
The Twitter feed?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a Twitter feed. A feed where Twitters happen. You
I'm
should tweet at us.
I'm gonna try
At
this
Hoth Pod.
again. There you go. That's what I was looking for you to plug.
Yeah. I was trying to make my way to the plug casually, and it wasn't working.
No, it was not.
But at Hoth Pod, if you want to add to our Twitter feed, that'd be great. There are a couple more names that are attached to this announcement in
Some
terms
new
of
characters.
cast. We have Naomi Aki. I think that's how you pronounce that. Because, I have a crystal perfect record of pronouncing things correctly on this podcast. Richard E. Grant and Carrie Russell. Now, Naomi Aki, I have not. I hadn't heard of her before now, and then just looking at her credits on IMDb, like she hasn't been in a ton of things.
Yeah, I'm on her Wikipedia page, and I'm enjoying it because it says her birthday is circa 1992. I just really enjoy that. And I didn't realize that her and did you already say the other guy?
Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, they're both in Doctor Who.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
One episode for Naomi Aki. Now, the thing with her the thing about Star Wars that I like with their casting is that they do tend to take relative unknowns.
Yeah.
In all the movies and put them forward, and we find really good actors and actresses that way. So, I don't know anything about her, but I'm looking forward to seeing her in Star Wars.
I would like to mention that because the Wikipedia page says she was born circa 1992. She's roughly 25 to 26, so I'm guessing that she's just going to be another member of the Resistance, more than likely.
Yeah,
I don't really want to do a ton of speculating, but I'm just based on her age. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I want to talk about the speculation thing in a second. Let's get through the rest of the cast. Yeah.
So Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, Richard E. Grant,
who was also in Doctor Who.
Yep, he's been working for a while, and he's got a lot of credits to his name here. I mean, like you said, you don't really want to speculate too much, but the guy looks like an Imperial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
go ahead. Sorry.
He's gonna be, a first order something.
I'm reading through his Wikipedia, which I should have done earlier, but I just glanced over it. He portrayed the Doctor in a comedy sketch called Doctor Who and the Curse of Fatal Death. He voiced the Ninth Doctor in an animated webcast of Doctor Who, and then he was also a villain in Doctor Who, which in 2012, the Snowman. Oh, that's a good one. I don't remember if you watched the Doctor Who, because this is becoming a Doctor Who podcast now.
That's going to be a problem.
There's the one where like the snowmen were coming to life in like Victorian England.
Dude, I'm sure I saw it. Like, I watched a bunch of Doctor Who. I couldn't tell you what happened in any of them.
Okay,
because they're just so random, and
he just 100% looks like your upper class British gentleman who knows that he's better than you.
Yeah,
like his portrait on Wikipedia is just, he's glaring, like not at the cameraman, but like just beyond him at the person that I bet he thought was in charge of this peasant cameraman. Just glaring. It's a fantastic picture.
He was born in South Africa, according to his IMDb page. So that's a thing.
Mine says he was born in Swaziland.
Oh. The Union of South Africa, parentheses, now Swaziland. So that shows you how much I know about my
The Protectorate of Swaziland.
Geography.
That's a crazy flag for Swaziland. Swaziland, you do your thing, man. You do you.
And the last
Yeah,
person,
who else we got?
The last person announced to be added to the cast is Carrie Russell.
Oh, Mara Jade?
No, I don't understand where all that's coming from.
I don't either, and I really hope it's not Mara Jade. It takes way too much setup.
She's not as old as Mark Hamill. Like she's not the age of the original cast. So if she was Mara Jade, then she would have to be just that in flashbacks, or they'd completely change the character, in which case what would be the point of making her Mara Jade? Like, you know, this is one of those things where like people see a code name for I think that's what this whole thing came from, right? It was a code name for some piece of the production.
I have no idea. I just saw an article that said she's Mara Jade, and I was like, this is dumb. That's not who she is.
It's like the whole thing where it there was a similar situation we were talking about before, but like the some code name for some part of the production was Mara, and then everybody just like took two completely separate things and linked them together, and then just assumed that she's going to be playing Mara Jade. And I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why it, like, I can almost understand like linking the two things, but like I don't understand why people are taking it as concrete fact. It's very, very bizarre.
I think that even if she was Mara Jade, then Disney would be shooting itself in the foot even more, just because Mara Jade's story is so complex that to summarize it in episode 9 would take another 2 movies. Unless they just retcon, like, oh, she wasn't the Emperor's Hand. Oh, she wasn't married to Luke because she's not a Force sensitive.
And then she wouldn't be Mara Jade anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, if they do that, like, come on, Disney.
Yeah. So
you're doing all right so far.
I don't think it's them. I don't think Carrie Russell is going to play Mara Jade, and if they do, it's a bad idea. That's my take on it. But she is apparently she's most well known for The Americans, which is a TV series that I have not watched, but I am told she's very good in it.
Roommate Mike knows her from Felicity.
From Felicity. Oh yeah, she was in Felicity.
I think she was Felicity.
Yeah, she was Felicity in Felicity. She was in Mission Impossible 3, August Rush. That was a good movie.
I've never seen a single one of the movies she's been in.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So yeah, I mean, I normally don't have any issue with Star Wars in terms of who they cast for things. How those characters turn out in the end, you know, that's a debate to have, and that's a combination of, you know, writing and direction and acting. But I don't think I've ever seen a casted role and been like, I don't like that person in that role. So, for Star Wars.
For Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cast. The role of Leia, another part of this announcement, the role of Leia Organa will once again be played by Carrie Fisher, using previously unreleased footage shot for Star Wars The Force Awakens. Quote, "We desperately loved Carrie Fisher," says Abrams, "finding a truly satisfying conclusion to the Skywalker saga without her eluded us. We were never going to recast or use a CG character. With the support and blessing from her daughter, Billy, we have found a way to honor Carrie's legacy and role as Leia in Episode 9 by using unseen footage we shot together in Episode 7.
I think JJ is basically writing himself into a corner by saying that they won't use the CG and they're only going to use unused footage, which, if I remember, in The Force Awakens, she's on Takodana, and she's on what's the planet with the rebel base? Dakar? See, I've been watching a lot of Star Trek Deep Space Nine right now, and I know that Major Kira Nerys is from the Dakar province of Bajor, and so that's getting stuck in my brain, and I can't remember the name of the planet.
What's in the Hosnian system?
No, Hosnian system blew up.
Are you?
You remember that when the First Order wiped it out? It was the whole plot of the first movie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the something. I was switching the Hosnian system with the Resistance base location. Yeah, it's on Dakar.
Dakar. Okay.
D''QAR.
So, I mean, those were like, if I remember right, those were the only times you saw her in The Force Awakens, were in those two locations. And I don't remember if this made it onto the DVD because I didn't buy the DVD, but there's supposed to be a deleted scene of her talking with one of the Senate representatives, the New Republic representatives, that we see for a short second right before, the Republic gets wasted. So like I'm just nervous that they're going to be writing around these scenes, and by saying that they won't use CG, they'll only be using these deleted scenes. I feel like they're missing an opportunity to be able to use those scenes and use CG, unless they're going to do something like Plan 9 from Outer Space, where the what's his name? The villain had died before production, so they just like the actor, and so they just use a very bad lookalike who didn't look like him, and use like forced perspective to try to get you to think that they were on screen.
So,
like I'm just nervous that
here's my thing.
Too hard to not do the CG thing, not recast, and are going to be putting themselves in a small box of story.
Well, so here's my view on this situation. I think that the way you and roommate Mike have been interpreting the no CG thing is a lot tighter than how I'm interpreting it. The way I'm interpreting it is him saying, hey, we're not going to do the thing we did in Rogue One here. I suspect that they might do any number of things to whatever footage they have, including changing the backgrounds, or making her a hologram or a Force ghost or whatever, or using a stand-in actor for reversal, for like scene reverses. Because they do that anyway. Like half the time in movies. So the way I'm interpreting this is that all of that is still on the table, and they'll be able to do a lot more. Like the way I look at it is that they're not going to recreate her the way they recreated Leia in Rogue One. That's the way I'm seeing it. And I think that it was worded such so that fans who have and there has been very vocal denouncement of doing that to Carrie Fisher since her death, within certain sectors of the fandom. I think it was worded the way it was worded in order to dissuade those people and assure them that that specific thing isn't going to happen. You know what I mean?
I think the problem with it is not. I'm not looking at it from a filming standpoint. I'm looking at it from a press release standpoint, where they've just said they're not going to use any CG, and they're going to have to do anything unless they decide to do the dumb Dallas thing where Luke wakes up and the whole thing was a dream, and so they can just keep reshooting, continuing the story from 7. But if they use any CG, they have a press release that says we're not going to use CG, and that's going to backfire on them because
It all
take
depends.
any excuse to like go after Disney.
Yeah, but they were going to do that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but they've just given them more ammunition.
He could have come in this press release and said everybody's getting coffee and donuts, and then there's going to be one guy who gets freaking bear claw instead of a donut, and then it's gonna all like they're gonna look for that excuse. So they could have said anything. People can pull whatever they want out of a press release and denounce people for it. So I don't know. I think this is only going to be a big deal to the kind of people who are going to make a big deal out of anything just so that they can be angry. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying that they should have worded it to leave the use of CG open and not just saying we're just not going to use it, because it's going to happen. Like, I agree with. I think the only way that they can use that footage is if they change the background or they do something to put her in a situation that doesn't look like it was just unused footage from 7.
Right. And as part of this whole thing too, it's like they're very much in a damned if you do, damned if you don't
100%
situation.
I agree with you 100%.
So there's going to be no situation where they use anything Leia related in this movie where everybody's going to be happy. Well, it's just not going to happen.
This kind of goes back to what I was hoping for Lando in this movie. I was hoping, like I said earlier, I was hoping that they would bring Billy Dee in to kind of be the replacement for Carrie Fisher in that military leader,
right, taking over her role.
But now that they've said this, what is his role going to be? Is it going to be a short cameo? Is it going to be like a glorified like cameo, I guess is the word for that too? Or
well, I think it's going to be just as you said. I think that you're assuming that because they're using this Carrie footage, that she's going to still somehow play have the impact she initially was supposed to have. And I don't think that's true. I think she's going to end up being the cameo. I think she's going to end up being far less of an important character in the script than she was originally intended to be. Because they can't, it doesn't matter how much unused footage, they can only have so much unused footage. And there's only so much you can do with that.
I'm sure Solo has a ton of unused movie. One whole unused movie.
Yeah, exactly. But there's only so much you can do with that.
Maybe JJ's more of a completionist than I thought. Maybe he had on hours of let's see what happens if we put Leia in a starship. Let's see what happens if we put Leia here. Let's fast forward 20 years and just who knows? It's all speculation.
Let's see what happens when Leia gets blown out into space and Superman's her way back. No. Who let Ryan into this meeting room?
Yeah, I'm just nervous about how it's going to be used. I'm like 100% like not excited to see her in the film.
I mean,
but we've talked about this before, where I recognize that the sequel trilogy isn't for me. I'm just happy that there's a Star Wars. I would have preferred if the sequel trilogy didn't even have the original cast in it at all. Maybe they were just mentioned. But now that they've established that they're part of it, and
the movie's too late for that.
And with Carrie's unfortunate death, we're kind of in this situation of how are they going to deal with this?
Yeah, honestly, I think I've learned from both your outlook and from the whole Last Jedi controversy, where I don't see this as a big deal because I know I'm just going to be happy to see her presence in the movie, like regardless of how they do it. I mean, they could screw it up, they could not, but it's just going to be another Star Wars movie. It's going to be what it's going to be, and I'm going to do my best to I'm just going to set my expectations, mid-range and try not to go out of control on the speculation, because I think that's what got us in trouble in with the last movie, is that everybody speculated to the point of believing
everyone has
what
their
they
own
were.
fan fiction.
Yeah, and when you create that to the extent that we saw it, and then what happens doesn't happen to your expectation, then it breaks people, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't I'm gonna be really light on the speculation leading up to episode 9. Because it's fun to speculate. It's what we do. We're Star Wars fans, but I don't want us to get into. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I speculate so much to the point of, if something doesn't happen the way I imagined it, I'm going to be. It's going to lessen my enjoyment of the film. You know what I mean?
I do believe I know what you're saying.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm not super worried about it. But I understand why you are nervous about what they'll do. So,
And I think I'm looking at it from more of a perspective of what the reaction, like the public reaction, will be to things, and not so much how things will affect the story.
Sure, and I think that's an unfortunate side effect of the world we live in.
Yeah.
Right now. Too nervous about how other people are gonna react to stuff. John Williams. I'm just gonna go through the rest of this. Unless, did you have a final point on that?
I'm sure I did, and I'll remember it sometime around 5:30 tomorrow when I'm waking up for work.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go back over it again, maybe a little later in another episode. Just going through the rest of this press release, though. John Williams is back. That not unexpected. Being produced by Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, and Michelle Rejwan, whom I have not heard of. Executive produced by Callum Green and Jason McGatlin, 2 more people I haven't heard of. Director of photography is Dan Mindel. Rick Carter and Kevin Jenkins are co-production designers. Michael Kaplan is costume designer. That's a name I've heard before. Neil Scanlon is creature and droid FX. He's done stuff for Star Wars before, so it should be good. Maren Brandon and Stefan Grube are the editors. Mary Ann Brandon and Stefan Grube are the editors. I'm sure I'm butchering all these pronunciations. Roger Goyette is the VFX supervisor. Tommy Gormley is the first AD. And Victoria Mahoney is the second unit director. Yeah. And it'll be released December 2019.
We did.
I was interested in learning if, in fact, I'm gonna look this up for a second. Because you, me, and roommate Mike were talking about J.J. Abrams' career and how he has a hard time closing out stories.
Mm-hmm.
and I had said I don't think he's the sole writer. So I want to double check and make sure that that's correct, because if there is going to be something that I'm going to be concerned about, it's going to be that. Yeah, so it looks like he's co-writing it with somebody named Chris Terrio. Who worked on Argo. So that's cool. But yeah, that's based on all the news. The only thing I'm really concerned with is I hope J.J. Abrams realizes that he can't or he shouldn't leave this movie open-ended. You know?
Yep. That's the concern every time J.J. Abrams does the thing.
But we'll see, won't we? We shall see. Any last bits to close it out?
I believe you want to talk about how you don't understand why people are shocked that this will be the end of the Skywalker story.
Oh yeah, I don't get why people are shocked at that at all.
Because they've been saying that since JJ directed a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, but I mean, like, oh, everybody's freaking out that this is the end of the Skywalker saga, but I mean, look, the prequels were supposed to be the end of the Skywalker saga. The originals were supposed to be the end of the Skywalker saga. Like,
I think the prequels were the beginning of the Skywalker saga.
Well, right, but I mean, the completion, I suppose, would have been a better word. But like, yeah, it's okay. It can be finished. It's okay that it's done. It's been done before. And you know what? In 40 years' time, it'll probably be done again.
I mean, Ben is the only surviving Solo or Skywalker.
Yeah, that we know of.
Yeah. Unless Mara Jade shows up.
Yeah.
And then be real awkward when Ben Skywalker goes after Ben Solo. It's really awkward to name your kids the same.
Yeah, I think you're writing some fan fiction there, John.
Everyone has fan fiction.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of weird to be like, just based on what we've seen in, like, you know, what fellow podcasters and some YouTubers and have posted, like, it's strange to me that people in that community are shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can understand your casual Star Wars fan being like, what? But Star Wars is the Skywalkers. But, you know, in the deep dive areas of the fandom that we frequent, it was very curious to see that floating around.
I do agree with you.
Yeah. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still looking forward to episode 9, and we've got plenty of Star Wars content to keep us busy. Until then, we got a new season of Clone Wars. Solo's coming out on Blu-ray soon.
The last season of Clone Wars.
You know, the last season of Clone Wars, I don't, you know, at this point, I don't believe anything's the last of anything.
Well, the Siege of Mandalore was supposed to be the series finale of that show.
Sure.
And then, because they are very boxed into the time between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And when the show was canceled, I mean, they were They were just like right on the cusp of Revenge of the Sith. They can't really do Clone Wars after the Clone Wars have ended.
That's fair. But so we'll get the last season of Clone Wars. Got Scylla coming out on Blu-ray. We'll get. I expect we'll get Resistance. Isn't it supposed to come out in fall or something?
I have no idea.
So we'll get Resistance
I don't do my
stuff
research.
at some point. You don't do research, yeah? Who needs research in this podcast? Pretty sure it's supposed to come out in the fall. We'll hear more about it from Celebration Chicago, I'm sure.
And don't forget about the Game of Thrones guys thing.
Isn't that like post episode 9? Like that's got plenty of time to fall through.
And Ryan Johnson's things.
I hate to be that guy, but like, you know, they had other people who were supposed to, you know, there was supposed to be a Boba Fett movie, and then that didn't pan out, or maybe it did, or maybe it won't. You know, it's just when we have hard announced release dates, then I'll start believing that those projects will actually happen. Awkward silence! Yay!
You did it.
Yep, I did it. Anything else?
That's it, I think.
All right. Cool. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. Give us an email, hothpod@gmail.com. Send us a tweet at hothpod, or visit our website, hothtopicspodcast.com. Bye.
Peace outside, yo.
Wasn't that fun? This is John in the Edibe again. Many opinions were expressed in that episode. What about you? What are your opinions on this casting? Or the reuse of footage of Carrie Fisher? Feel free to send us an email at hothpod@gmail.com and let us know. Alternately, you could also send us a tweet on the Twitter at Hothpod. On the next episode of Hoth Topics, a Star Wars podcast, Ian and I will discuss some lessons that we may or may not have learned from the films and shows, probably games. I'm not sure, I'm not done editing it yet, but we'll see what I leave in. I've been John in the Edibe, and you will always be my lovable wibbly wampus. See you next time.